Hello?
Howdy.
Alright, let me just raise your volume. Can you talk again?
Is this better?
Okay, I have to straight up max it out. Try again?
Now?
Yeah, you're good.
Alright.
So, looks like you guys will be the first fight of this tournament. It was supposed to be Cobra and... Yeah, it was supposed to be Cobra and Juggernaut, but one of them kind of didn't show up. So, thanks for showing up on time. Pale Rider, you haven't been in a fight before I restarted the tournament, right?
No.
Oh,
Supposed to with Metallico, but yeah.
yeah, so everyone here is actually a second generation member because everyone that I first got left. And I didn't even say goodbye either. But the only one who was here from the first one and has been in a fight is Seance. He's the most veteran one here, so that gives him a slight advantage in the beginning. I'll give you that in much information. If you guys don't mind, I will be recording this so that way people, other people can see.
Alright.
Alright, just one more talking just to make sure I got my bearings right. Can each of you talk so I can make sure?
Oh. Yeah.
I'm here.
Alright then. So, are we ready to start? Am I coming up through clear?
Yeah.
Yep, you're good.
Nice. So, this is going to be the first match of this little tournament that we're having. It's going to be... And he left. Great start. Did his internet like cut out or something? He went straight offline.
Maybe he's not used to it either. This is my first time using Discord.
I think he... Okay, what the heck?
My apologies, my Discord force closed as soon as you said first match.
The first match is going to be great, and Bink, well, that's a great start.
If I ever could go silent, it's probably because I'm talking to my family, by the way.
You got it. So, I'm going to be talking to the... I'm going to mute myself real quick as I talk to the video audience real quick. Alright, I still should be coming through. So, for those of you watching, this is going to be the first matchup in our little superhero tournament, or as I call the Tournament of Champions. These two fighters are competing against each other to become a champion. Now, this is how it's going to work out. They're basically going to fight, go in a match, win points. You'll see more as we explain, but I don't want to keep everyone talking too much. So with that, let's get right back into it. The first match of the Tournament of Champions has begun. Adulare versus Pale Rider. Alright, that was real quick. So, do you guys need a little explanation on to how this works? Or have you guys already seen my explanation?
I guess explain it again, I don't really remember.
That's alright. By the way, can you hear a fan in the background?
No.
Oh, thank God. It's hot. And so I need a fan constantly pointed at me. Alright, so pretty much what happens is you guys will be entering a random game mode in a random location. The explanation I gave in the little video is like hide and seek. And so like imagine your game mode is hide and seek. Whoever does the best in hide and seek gets 2 points. And it's a whole point system. Whoever has the most points at the end of this thing wins the tournament. And there are other options as well. If, let's say you do the worst in hide and seek and you lose, you can challenge someone to a combat fight. What this challenge does is it's a flat-out fight, you versus the other person, who would do best, who would win. Excuse me. Who would do best and who would win. And the winner, well, if you win the challenge, you get 1 point. But let's say you challenge them and lose, your opponent gets 3 points, and you still get 0. So pretty much, if you challenge them, you have the potential of getting a point, but it also comes at a risk of giving them more if you lose. If you have a non-combat power, you will be given a great weapon to help you even the odds. Need any more explanation?
Not really.
I'm good.
Alright, are we ready to see what your guys' match is?
Absolutely.
I don't even know what it is because it's randomly determined at the beginning of the match. That way there's no dumbfoundery or cheatery. Were you guys the ones that I gave a hint to on their match?
A what?
There was one match that was predetermined, and so they did have a hint. So I'm guessing that's not you.
No.
I'm aware.
All right then. Let's see what your first match is. Imagine there's just a wheel spinning. Just All right. I have your first match down. So now that I have this first match, while I'm figuring out how it works, why don't you two introduce yourselves? You guys have to fully explain your power here and how it works, as well as like your name and stuff. No lying. You can lie whenever you're not in a match.
I guess I can go first.
Okay.
My power, or I guess I mean, superhero name is also pretty much the power name, Adulare. It's short for adolescence, which is it's the like scientific name of like, optical illusions in crystals and all that, which I think pretty well reflected the power, which is basically I can create a crystal that's an illusion. It only reflects light. Like, if you put your hand through it, your hand would go through it. It's not a physical object, it's an illusion. If anyone touches the crystal, it'll rapidly grow onto them and turn whatever, like, it'll basically, wherever it grows on them also becomes an illusion and is pretty much useless.
So,
What do you have, Pale Rider?
I can shoot beams at people. Once hit with this beam, these people will start to disintegrate in that small area. A lot of areas need to be hit multiple times, but on top of that, targets also get hit with a flat amount of damage. The limitation being that I have to hear them. Or they have to hear me.
Alright. Yep, that's... There is something that, Pale Rider, you should also know. The fact that you have a flat amount of damage and disintegration, it isn't like a small flat amount of damage. The flat amount of damage and disintegration are two separate powers that you got combined.
Oh, okay.
Meaning,
So it does damage and then...
it does a hell of a lot of damage and you disintegrate. Not like completely like poof, but like damage over time.
That is pretty cool.
Alright. Are you ready to hear your little event mode?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alright. So sometimes the events are really close, sometimes they can be surprising, and sometimes they're very one-sided. We'll find out in right now. So the race that you guys have Well, it's a race. I said it first, dang it.
Ah,
It's a race. You guys are competing against each other in a race. Who can get forward against the other the fastest?
that seems like both our powers are not really meant for this.
You're allowed to mess with your opponent. So I think both powers are meant for this. One can hurt, one can stop. We'll find out. The race is a D class race. Think of like normal school A, B, C, D, F. So it's D class. Pretty short race. Can't really see it. I can't see it going any farther than just an average little loop. Where, you know, like D being like a little loop around a little mini school or something. And S being, you know, like the friggin' Tour de France or something. Now, your location is gonna be a little bit rocky. The location that you guys are in is the Thunderdome. Lightning will randomly be striking people here, so be careful. And with that, let's get to the match. So, the way this goes, each of you guys kind of explain your case, and I will be judging. Normally, I have a second judge with me, but he's out for the day.
Okay.
So, let's start off alphabetically. Adulare, how do you think you can win this race? Go ahead, speak your mind, and say all that stuff.
Depends on... It actually seems like it's a rough race, depending on... Since he knows my power, or knows that the crystals are illusions. Mainly because he has a projectile-based ability. And mine requires me to touch something to create the crystal on. It seems like he can avoid... I'm more saying this is more in his advantage than mine. This was the one thing that would probably be the worst for this power. Being a ranged fight and having someone have a projectile against me. I guess my best case of, like, my best opportunity is trying to create pretty much like a plate as a crystal on the ground and try to make him step on it, because then I can make his legs useless and then he can't run.
That does make sense, especially since, as we talked before about your power, you have a maximum volume. You can only make a set amount of crystal before it ends.
Yeah, I figured a volume would be way easier to have as a limiter than what we had before.
Not to mention, that does mean that you can just touch the ground and have it cover a wide area very fast.
Because it'll just be very thin.
We do assume that both players in this match can use 70% of their power, because it'd be unfair to the people who got one.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's Adulare's little thing. He's gonna try and take out your feet instantly. Pale Rider, what do you got?
Similar. Similar plan there, except I'm just going to be aiming for his ankles.
So,
start blasting.
give me an explanation. Give me a play-by-play. How's this gonna turn out?
I don't really know who's fast or anything, but I assume we both start running.
Yes.
If he gets ahead, he might do his plan and touch the ground. But while he's running away, I'll be looking at targeting his legs and stuff and start blasting there. And if I do get a hit, he's not only going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt over a long period of time. And since this is a race, it's going to be a lot of damage.
That is pretty useful. Not to mention, disintegration is able to, disintegrate body parts. That will take a while and a little bit more hits, but yeah. Alright. You guys have pretty much both explained your cases. Doing pretty good on that case. Both sound like good ways to stop the opponent. So, Adulare,
Mhm.
What can you think of that can help you in defense against Pale Rider?
I'm assuming because you had us explain our abilities, we're supposed to have knowledge of the other person's power
Yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah, we assume everyone is equal in everything. Equal strength, equal speed, equal intelligence, equal dodging ability.
I mean, as in, would Adulare in the race know what Pale Rider's power is,
Yes.
and vice versa?
Yes.
How does Pale Rider shoot his beams?
Pew pew. Iron Man, boom.
Like, does he need anything for it, or does it just happen like a mind thing? More saying, like, could I, instead of focusing his legs, could I focus his arms to make him not be able to shoot beams?
People who get the standard, which he did, are able to go mouth, hands, legs.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Then I guess, yeah, my best bet would be... I'm assuming if they're called beams, they're traveling extremely fast.
Yep.
Like, almost impossible, or pretty much impossible to dodge.
Think of Iron Man whenever he shoots his beams.
Okay.
Got anything?
I'm thinking...
Alright, well, while you're thinking, Pale Rider, what do you think is your best defense against Adulare? And Adulare, remember, Pale Rider's power does have a shooting condition.
Yeah, I have to hear him. Or he has to hear me, right? Or something like that. It has sound involved.
Pale? What was it again?
Let me look back in the chat and see. It is... You can only shoot this beam at people who hear you.
Meaning,
Oh, wait, that's an easy fix.
So you're just gonna run? Are you just gonna run with your fingers in your ears, going la 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 la?
No, that's what my power is for. I'm gonna touch my ears and make them useless.
Oh.
Effectively made myself deaf, but I can still run.
I wasn't expecting that. Pale Rider. So Adulare has a defense against you. Since he needs to hear you, he'll take out his own ears. Pale Rider, it's up to you to figure out how the heck to do this now.
Yeah, because that kind of makes my power useless, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I thought this match was gonna be a landslide in Pale Rider's victory, but that kind of threw me off.
Exploitable defense there.
Yeah, that was a real curve that you just threw me. Like, oh wait, you can.
The only argument I could say is if I cut up to you and just started punching your ears. I don't know.
Screw these
like I was planning if it was like a combat thing, my line of defense is because oh, I didn't say, yeah, when the crystals like form on someone, I pretty much have a control of how much it takes over or how little. There is a maximum. I can only take over half the body and make it useless. But I can choose how small it is. And so what I was thinking before the sound thing is I was gonna think I could maybe like make my leg useless to dodge a beam, and then it would just turn into a crawling race as we both have our legs useless. But this is definitely a better option.
So Pale, do you have any idea on how to get through him? Remember, you are in the Thunderdome. That might be able to affect you guys. Normally this is very good for elemental-based power fights.
Good question, because maybe if I'm lucky he gets struck by lightning. It's a dome, right?
Yep.
Does it echo very well?
Yep.
That'd be one advantage. I could just yell a lot of just, hey! Hey!
I'm deaf.
The only situationally, him being able to hear me and maybe me see him going to touch his ears, I guess, and me just trying to shoot his fingers.
Since you both have the same speed, since we both have the same speed and strength and intelligence and all of that, we assume that you guys kind of do your powers at the same time. That's because, that's mainly for speed-based powers and intelligence-based powers. And so, by the time he makes his ears deaf, you will shoot. Meaning, Pale Rider, you do have enough time to get one hit off before Adulare counters.
That seems like a fair thing. Because I was going to say at the beginning of the fight, I'd probably do the disc on the ground to try and catch his legs. And then go for my ears, or maybe, actually no, I'd probably do my ears first, then the disc. Because at that point, if I'm tanking a hit, I know that multiple hits will cause the disintegration to go faster, and that's worse, but taking one hit and then having to deal with that for the rest of the race while he has to crawl would probably make it a lot more of an even race.
So, Pale Rider, you did get at least one hit off, which does help. And normally this is the part in the match where I ask my second judge to start talking. But he kinda not here. So, does anyone have any last inputs before I start discussing? I'm going to switch to a different chat, and I'll start discussing with normally my second judge, but this time the audience. And I'll start talking about who has the best odds of winning this fight. So
I don't think I have anything.
Okay, no last piece of info. Pale Rider, any last piece of info?
Not really, GG.
Alright, let me go into the general and I will begin discussing with the audience. Which would be my partner, but he's not here.
He's not here.
Okay. Alright, the recording is still going. So, I do think that this fight belongs to Adulare. I did think Pale Rider was able to win this because instant damage, hit after hit after hit after hit. All Adulares can kind of slow him down a bit, but no matter what, Adulare is going to be getting hit so many times, he's going to die before he hits the end of the race. And it looked like an easy win for Pale Rider, just constantly hitting him, because, even if he runs at the top of it and yelling and screaming at the top of his lungs, he's going to get hit eventually, and he's going to be able to hear him as he shouts. It's not a conscious thing of, I'm ignoring you. As long as he hears him, even just in the slightest, Pale Rider can hit him. And we can't completely block out sound. Pale Rider would get so many hits off. But then Adulare brought up a very good point. Whatever he touches, that body part essentially gets separated from your body, meaning it does nothing to him. So when he touches his ears, he can't hear at all. Which would normally be a huge disadvantage, but against Pale Rider, it's a complete opposite. Pale Rider needs you to hear him, but now he can't even subconsciously hear you. He can't hear anything. Granted, Adulare would be hit once by Pale Rider's beam. He would be hit once by Pale Rider's beam. It's not enough, I'd say. Because he would get hit with a flat amount of damage, and then start taking damage over time. But then after that, Pale Rider can't do anything, and Adulare would catch his feet. Adulare's range is wide enough to where he can hit Pale Rider as he's running away from him as he takes damage. Once Pale Rider is hit and he loses his legs and he has to crawl versus someone who's just hurt and has to shrug through it, I'd say the match would go to Adulare. It's how it would go. Adulare wins most of the time here. that counter is a little bit too perfect against him. And now that you think of, like, that was a complete curve that I didn't see that coming. I really thought it was going to be a landslide. Well, I can't spend too long talking. Let's get right back into it.
Because I'd say against pretty much any other person, it'd probably be a lot better.
Hello there.
Howdy.
Alright. After a careful deliberation with myself, I have come to a conclusion. Are you all ready?
Yeah.
Drum roll. I don't know if you can hear the drum roll, but I'm drum rolling.
Here a little bit.
I have decided that the winner of the race match in the Thunderdome would go to Adulare.
Yay.
It comes down to the fact that Adulare would have to deal with shrugging through the pain and getting through Pale Rider's attack that was hit once, compared to Pale Rider who has to crawl throughout the rest of the race. It may take a little bit longer because both people are hindered, but crawling is a bit slower than waddling. And so I would give this match to Adulare. He would win most times out of none. Sadly, the fact of being in the Thunderdome does little to nothing. And yes, congratulations on your win, Adulare. You will receive 2 points for this.
Yay.
Now, Pale Rider, you lost this match. You are able to challenge Adulare to a combat round. If you win this combat round, you get 1 point and he gets 0. However, if you lose this combat round, you still receive 0 and he receives 3.
That is difficult because that loops right back around to why I lost the race to racing.
It's mine pretty much hard counters your ability.
Yeah, I'll probably just take the loss.
You'll take the loss? Alright.
But I could get 3 more points.
You're gonna challenge me, huh?
Well, don't worry, Pale Rider. You still have 3 other people to go against.
Maybe they will not just insta-win like he did.
At least if they try to cover their ears, you can still shoot them. And
Oh, I don't know. If I had a voice amplifier.
oh yeah. Well, I'd imagine if you plug your ears and still have 1 shot off there, and you shoot their hand, eventually their hand will disintegrate and they can hear again.
Not to mention, it's not like they need to actively hear you. If they hear him even in the slightest, even if they don't notice it, it still works.
Oh, so mine really, yeah.
Yeah, because if you plugged your ears and ran, Pale Rider would still get hits off of you.
Oh yeah, because it's not complete
Mm-hmm.
sound nullification.
But the fact that you had complete sound nullification
yeah,
is
that's
what.
rough.
Good fight, good match, and
I won the dice roll.
and I think
who I'm up against next.
we'll find out. We'll be putting the next matches once everyone goes through. Juggernaut still has yet to show who he is in a match because he was supposed to fight Cobra.
And then he just hasn't said anything.
No, he hasn't said anything, so I might have to get a replacement for him. Because Cobra responded, but Juggernaut did not. But that is the end of the match. Good match. GG's, everyone.
GG.
GG. Good game.
Don't worry.
A fair fight.
Well, it was again. I thought it was gonna be a landslide.
I honestly, going into this after hearing he had a projectile and hearing it was going to be a race, I thought it was already GG's. I was ready to forfeit, but then hearing it was sound really threw it.
It only took that one. But hey, that's just how the powers roll.
Alright. Well, good luck. Hopefully the other matches finish up relatively quick. That way we can get right into it and start the next set of matches for round 2. There are 5 rounds.
That'll be good.
You got some time to come back. Alright. Good seeing you all, and thanks for putting up a good fight.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, this is the little after match, little conclusion, just to talk about what happened after the match. And I know I've said this like 10 times already, but that match was a surprise. Didn't see it at first. Good job, both fighters, for putting up a good fight. Honestly, that's a nice start off to how this tournament's going to be going. If I were to take a look at the people who are coming up next, this is going to be Juggernaut versus Seance. Now, Juggernaut hasn't messaged anyone yet, so Juggernaut may or may not be in this tournament. If not, then, dang it, we'll have to get a replacement for Juggernaut. But Adulare and Pale Rider did a good fight. The remaining 3 fighters are Cobra, Juggernaut, and Seance. Everyone, this Tournament of Champions has only just begun. Why don't you guys think about who you think will win? Why don't you guys talk about who is your favorite champion? Once all of round 1 ends, you'll see all 5 of these champions. And I can't wait to see what kind of surprises they throw at me next. Get ready. This tournament is getting real. Be ready. This tournament is getting pretty fun.